Yeah, yeah, 360. Yeah, I'm like round and round and round we go. And where we stop, I'm like nobody knows. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We tell the real truth, you know what I mean? This the breakdown, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need. We talking politics and news, and music reviews, as well as rap and TV. You know how we do, and music from some artists you never heard of. But when you hear them, you gon' show them some love. 360 degrees, 360 degrees. We give you what you want, we give you what you need. Hey, and welcome to another episode of 360 Degrees, the various talk show which talks about all types of topics and gives various 360 degree perspectives, a component of the Urban Breakdown. Subscribe to it via your Apple products, via your Google Android products, via your Alexa products. Look for the podcast, The Urban Breakdown. Hey, Merk, what you got? No, you know what? Ladies first. Odie, what do you have?
What?
I know, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to change it up a little bit. You know, Merk got his own show. He can do whatever he wants whenever he wants to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh. All right. I guess, well, thank you for the welcome back. First and foremost, for those that weren't paying attention the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about traveling. So thank you for the wishes, the world travel wishes, of course. But basically, I had a good-ass time. Dubai, my Instagram was definitely popping. And the way I set up my itinerary was to go to London and catch the main sites there. You know, we caught the changing of the guards. We went to the Queen's Garden and Big Ben and all of that good stuff. Then we hopped a flight and kicked in Amsterdam for the night. That was a lot of fun, as you can imagine. It was a lot of fun, as you can imagine.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm going to leave it.
What stays in, what's it called, Amsterdam? What goes on in Amsterdam stays in Amsterdam.
Pretty much. But if you're ever in the area, I say check out the Greenhouse. I had some interesting conversations with people from all over. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then from there, we headed to Dubai. And that trip was fantastic. That was the first place that I visited where I actually can't wait to go back. My philosophy is I don't want to go to the same place twice because the world is so large. But that was the first place I visited where I could see myself breaking that rule. I could actually see myself living there despite how damn hot it is. But yeah, it was good. It was a good time.
What's up? That's what's up. I hear a lot of good things about Dubai. It seems like black millennials, that's like a go-to bucket list place. Every time I'm on Facebook or Instagram, I hear somebody going there, about to go there, coming from there, or posting pictures from there. I don't know what's so exciting about it. I need to Google it.
It's like the perfect mixture of like traditional culture and extravagance and luxury. So you have like the modern day amenities on one hand, but then and you can like do, your dollar goes so far there. So, and it's kind of like Vegas because if you have enough money, then you can get anything you want. They have like the Uber Eats, like you can get food, KFC or whatever the hell, Burger King is really popular, delivered to your hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you have the money, you can kind of make it happen. You don't have to have a lot of money to make that thing happen. So it's nice. I liked it. But in any case, yeah, came back and You know, I caught up on some ratchetness while I was away. Definitely want to bring up Real Housewives is coming back. I don't remember the premiere date, but I definitely look forward to seeing that super trailer for it. And I think this is their 10th season that Real Housewives of Atlanta is coming back for.
And hopefully the last. I'm so tired of that bullshit.
No, not the last. But I am kind of annoyed. They're bringing back Nene. I'm over Nene. And Kim Zolciak is also coming back. I'm definitely not feeling that. Kim Zolciak was the white girl that married the football player, Corey Bierman. Do you know who that is? You guys know who that is?
Yeah,
Corey
I know.
Bierman?
Only because of the show, not because he stood out as an NFL player.
So he's not like a great player or anything like that.
I don't know.
Okay.
The only white players I know is Manning. I mean, shit.
And he only knows one. He doesn't even know that there's two.
Well, did he play? I wonder if Corey Bierman was because that was Atlanta and the Patriots that lost the Super Bowl this year, right?
No, Patriots won.
No, but it was the Falcons that played them, right?
Yeah, the Falcons lost.
Okay, so I wonder if he was on the team when they lost that year. Anyway, I digress. But I am looking forward to Eva Marcel. She's going to be kind of joining the cast. It's like, I think she's going to have like a part-time Peach, and I'm sure she, once she brings whatever she brings to the table, depending on her storyline, they'll probably give her a full Peach by come the 11th season, maybe.
I don't see why people are still so intrigued by these shows. To me, it shows an emptiness of people's souls, that they have nothing popping in their own lives. Not you, because I know you do. But I'm saying in general, I know a lot of people that go to work and sit on their couch and live vicariously through these characters. Oh, girl, you see what was on the hip-hop last night?
Why do I know, but see, that's the thing. I know a lot of people like myself who indulge, and it's like the consensus is.
I promise
it's
you, they're not like yourself. I promise you, they're not like you.
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you know, because I don't know any people like that. I really don't. At least I don't think I do.
Trust me, you do. You'd be surprised. Like, oh, poor girl. And when you find out, you're like, oh, poor girl. Because it don't make no sense. I mean, bruh, at this point, if you don't know it's scripted, I don't know what the fuck to say. Okay, people like me and Merck had a long time. It took us a long time to figure out wrestling was a fucking man soap opera. But when we figured it out, we figured it out. We're more advanced now. We knew that the reality shows were fake at least by season 3. I hope, you know what I'm
saying? Now here's the thing. If you like just like with wrestling, even when you find out that it's fake, you still enjoy it because
exactly. Thank you very much.
But the ones who still think it's real, that's scary.
Right. I think my friend still believes to this day that wrestling is real, but honestly, I remember watching. I was catching up on what's the other Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, and it dawned on me. I was like, I made that same reference in my mind. I said, this shit is just like the WWE. It's like they've been sitting at a table, they set up to sit down, they talk a little shit, and then, or like Jerry Springer, and then they cue the music, and all of a sudden you just see hands throwing and maybe some hair flinging. And I just made that same comparison to myself last night watching it. It's so funny you said that.
Your Alexa was on, I was listening.
Alexa reads brains too. Now, granted, I do talk to myself sometimes.
No, you was talking out loud. You was on that his eye. You know how you do it. You know, like this shit is fake in the motherfucker. That shit's no script. You spoke of that bombastic, who look plastic, but I don't know the song. But you know the song I'm talking about.
Only word I know. Only that song I know is bombastic.
Oh gosh. Well, Eva is going to get her full-time Peach, I'm sure, soon enough. If you're not familiar with who that is, she was on America's Next Top Model. That's where we were all introduced to her. She's done some acting.
Did she get married?
She was dating Kevin
Hart?
No.
Poor Kevin Hart, but that's another story for another day.
Actually, I meant to put that earlier. I meant to say that earlier. It'll tie into the Wendy Williams thing kind of nicely, so that's fine. Damn, what the hell was his name? He was a rapper. I can't remember his name. I was about to say Kevin Gates, but I know that that's not right.
Hell
anyway, he was like a singer or a rapper, and I think she had a child with him. In any case, there was some drama behind that, so I'm sure there'll be some sort of mention of that in her storyline. And she's always been kind of like nice nasty because she's pretty, so people kind of let her slide with some shit that other people would get away with. That'll be her contribution to the show.
Oh, Kevin McCall. That's who she was married to.
Kevin McCall.
I never even heard of him.
Yeah. I know he's like in the music industry, but I don't really know.
But now she's dating Atlanta politician Michael Sterling, so maybe that's what's going to be brought into the storyline.
So she'll be a socialite on the social scene. That makes sense, I guess. Okay.
Hanging with them damn ratchet ass bitches.
That'd be good for his political career.
Well, they had to find somebody to replace Phaedra because Phaedra's no longer on the show.
They need to bring her back. She was the realest shit they had, bro.
No, she was quite the opposite. She was the fakest motherfucker of them all, and then she got caught, like, straight up caught in lies. Like, no.
Yeah, that's that shit, though. That's that shit, though. See, let me tell you why people get fired. People get fired because they're regular, real people, and they don't adhere to the scripted shit that lady, what's her name? Mona writes, or whatever. And if you go off script, and you do it too much, and it doesn't have violence attached to it, she don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit.
Well, I'll be watching.
I ain't take my medicine. I don't take my medicine on the weekends. Forgive me. I gotta be free. I gotta be free.
Well, we're gonna segue right on into Kevin Hart since it was brought up.
Kevin, poor Kevin.
Everybody out here tweeting these streets. As you guys mentioned, like Kevin Hart, in case you weren't paying attention, Kevin Hart has been caught cheating on his wife.
Now, how do we define cheating? Is this feels a lot more like the Bill Clinton cheating. Now, what is it really?
Well, according to the woman who was interviewed this week, they fucked 3 times, and this was like,
man, I thought that was parody. I thought that was parody because she said she fucked him 3 times. They had a connection, and she did not know he was married. Hello, bitch, Google him. He's famous.
I'm going to say this: the fact that she can count how many times they had sex, if it's more than one. Yeah, that's not cool. That's.
And not only that, you could have. I have sex 3 times in one day. It could have just been a one day.
I think that's what it was because it was like a 3-day weekend or whatever. It was like a weekend in Vegas kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that's what happened. Like, it was such a short amount of time. Like, I mean, he had just met her, and according to her, immediately took a liking to her. He immediately took a liking to her, and that. I think where the script kind of got flipped is she did probably try to blackmail him and say, oh, well, you know, I'll tell your wife or these pictures will leak and then, you know, unless you give me any money, I'll make them go away if you give me some money. But where Kevin Hart, what he did was came out and said, no, you're not going to hold this over my head. I'm going to get in front of the problem. And that's where that announcement came into play, and he just went on Instagram and said, yeah, I let my family down, blah, blah, blah. And so she had to change it and say, oh, well, someone violated our privacy and took those pictures without my knowledge or authority, too. So we both need to work together to find out who was trying to do this to others. I think that's what happened. She wasn't expecting that, and he threw her that plot twist, and she had no choice but to, like, try to recant because now, you know, she goes down for extortion. She's fucked.
Well, you know, that sounds like to me. It sounds like some O.J. Simpson shit. In the fact that, you know, it's like I'm not black, I'm O.J. And then when he gets caught for murder, he's just like, my brothers and sisters, we got to work together. to fight them.
Anyways, his wife don't need to be surprised. That's the same shit he did with you behind his wife's back, motherfucker.
Absolutely.
Why do these people get married?
Absolutely.
When you have...
It's like, just be rich. Like, just be rich and fuck as many women as you want to. Like, why do you have to have one who's like you intend on ruining? Like, just let me live my life, and then if you want to come trick on me every once in a while, then that's fine, but we not together.
I'm going to be horrible. If he needed somebody to cook and clean for him, he could just hire a housekeeper. He don't need a wife, you know. And I know some people want to have a family and stuff like that. I mean, even when they're famous, that's cool because it keeps you grounded. You know, it keeps you from ending up dead in the heroin den. For some, but not for a lot. At least not what I'm seeing nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you attain a certain amount of celebrity or money or fame, or like it's just like you're probably better off being single. Like, why do you keep trying to reinvent the wheel? The shit ain't working.
You know, it's like Chris Rock said, and I agree with this. A man is only as faithful as his options.
Ooh, so I like that.
If you're in a position where you just have, you know, you're famous. I mean, it's not like his career's in decline. You know,
right?
He's still hugely popular. So
more so today, he's white people famous.
Kind of like
that's not my phrase. I didn't make that up, but that's just hot though.
They don't remember him from those Master P type movies, you know, where he was doing.
Oh, I remember that shit. He had like a little curly fro thing going on.
Yeah, they don't remember him from those. So, yeah.
Like Tyler Perry famous.
Right.
Now, they say his new comedy thing is really good, but I feel like as a composite, all three of us is funnier than Kevin. But that's just what I say. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay, cool. I appreciate the most confidence. So, if I was his wife, I certainly would stay, depending on what the prenup says.
Probably a good 5-year clause, so she only been in there for what, a year, maybe 2?
Exactly. So they've only been there a short time. They've been together longer. What's funny is she actually just said, she just made a post on Instagram one day talking about, we've been together for 8 years, but married for this amount, and happy anniversary, I love you, babe, some shit like that.
And boom, a week later, bam! Oh!
No, before you even fast forward to all the bullshit, you find out everybody was talking shit because it was like, well, damn, Tori and him only been divorced for 7 years, so how the fuck y'all been together for 8? Like, I love social media. People be digging up some shit, and Tori had posted that too. She actually responded to that post and was on some shit like, whatever, girl, like, yeah, I know that you was fucking my husband, but for you to rub it in my face is some bullshit.
And not only that, you're saying y'all together. Hello, he's married. Y'all not together. You're the side piece, and that is considered. You're not considered together when you're the side piece.
Oh yeah, she definitely tried to clean it up and backtrack and say, oh well, you know, he was separated at that time and blah blah blah. Yeah, that never works. So
stick to doing Kardashian shit. Just post pretty pictures and smile.
Yeah, don't try to be too profound.
Right, exactly.
So, if I were her, I would stay, especially considering my condition. But if I were Wendy Williams, I would not. So in case you missed that story this week, basically Wendy Williams...
Sorry, go ahead.
She has her own tea to spill, but has not spoken on it. She's always spilling everyone else's.
Yeah.
And there's always been rumors that her husband Kevin has cheated. There's been rumors that he's been abusive to her and has beat her ass. There's
now,
also
who is he famous?
He is her manager and her husband.
Oh Jesus.
And yeah. So they've been married almost 20 years. And she there's always, and there was like an when she was a WBLS, there was a lawsuit as well where he was allegedly sexually harassing one of the interns, I guess, there. So bottom line is, this isn't really like news as much as it is this particular girl is the newest that to kind of crop up over time. And what's being done this time is they're saying he's been with this woman for like 10 years. She's 32 years old now, and they've been together. And he has a house for her not too far from where they live in Jersey. And the alleged evidence that they show that says that he's involved with her is like his name's on the mailbox. So his name is Kevin Hunter, and in the mailbox you see a tag with Kevin Hunter's name, the woman's name, and then like one of her family members or friends or somebody.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of like an episode of World's Dumbest Criminals where a guy pulls off a seemingly perfect bank robbery. You know, he slides the teller the note, and he says, you know, give me the money. You know, gets the money, goes out smooth. Cops come to analyze the note, flip it over. It's a dude's utility bill with his address on it. And the cops arrested him in his kitchen counting the money he just stole. That's like, how are you going to be creeping and your name is on, if your name's on the deed, that's one thing, it's still stupid, but your name's on the mailbox. The mailbox is outside the house.
Even the deed is stupid because it's public record once you own the property.
But exactly. But people always say, "Oh, it's a business," and you know, you can like kind of chalk it up to, well, that was a business.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing is like you creeping is one thing, but if you creeping based on the income you make from your wife, that's some bullshit.
And that's exactly why if I were Wendy Williams, I would leave, because not only are you out here embarrassing the fuck out of me, but you are spending my money to do it. Like,
I was just talking to my supervisor about this. We had a person of interest that we were talking about that's kind of not in the same situation, but it was a concept that's very similar to a lot of women. She's not going to leave because she's stigmatized.
I've never had that. Like, I don't understand. I understand the
because you ain't never got digged down like that. I mean, you ain't never got that that great wow. I mean, you might have. I don't know your personal business.
I have, but I've never been, like, never enough where it traumatized me. You know what I'm saying?
And that's fine because you value yourself. You love yourself. You have a family that ingrained in you great, well, maybe not the greatest set of values that I would think, but, you know, some great values in which you know yourself and you know what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to not accept. And maybe that's just not her. Based on some excerpts I read from her book, she didn't have the best upbringing. She didn't have the best upbringing in her youth, even until young adulthood. And she was abused, you know, sexually and mentally through, you know, rappers and famous people. And she got into, like, dope addiction because a lot of times addiction is a factor of you not loving yourself or you having pain. And when you invest in somebody, especially for 20 years, that's ingrained. Oh, the shit ain't right, but that's all I know. Oh, the shit ain't right, but he accepts me for me. Who's going to accept this loudmouth, big titty, skinny leg bitch other than him? I deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't being disrespectful in the way I am. But what I'm saying is it's a self-worth thing. And sometimes they don't leave just because of that.
Yeah, for all we know, maybe she's tried to do it before and she relapsed or some dumb shit. So in her mind, like, leaving him equals falling back into addiction, and she'd rather stay with him than be addicted. And in which case, I honestly couldn't fault her for that, because that's like some mental shit that I would never comprehend. So I won't fault her for that. But taking her addiction off the table, I would absolutely leave his dumb ass. And this is for me the final decision that led me to believe I would have to leave him. What if I die before he does? You mean to tell me you have to take my money and give it to this hoe, or like live happily ever after with this hoe? Fuck no. Like, that reason alone was enough for me to be like, yeah, no.
But you know what?
Happening.
Zoom out. You know what? There's something going on. There's something going on that we maybe not be considering. Wendy's what, 50?
Yeah, over 50.
Her husband is a little bit older than her, right? What if that's his daughter? Ooh.
No.
It's old enough to be his daughter.
Old enough, yeah, but that don't mean that it is.
There's an easy way to figure that out.
Exactly. I don't think so. I don't think that this is what we're dealing with. And considering his track record, I don't think so at all.
Somebody tweet that bitch and figure out what's going on.
Well, she had just been interviewed like right before the news dropped about that, and she just went on to say like, yeah, like my husband is my rock, he's my everything, this is why, you know, I'm successful, blah, 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 blah. So she was giving the very, you know, politically correct answers.
I told you, dickmatized. Trust me, dog. That's all it is. You don't value yourself. You don't love yourself. Your self is wrapped up in someone else. That's all that is.
Yeah, I do think like
she talks shit about other people because she don't value herself. She digs up dirt and exploits dirt on other people. Why? Because she distracts from herself because she don't love herself. She don't like herself. Mm-hmm. And if you were her, you wouldn't like yourself either.
Well, I agree with her because I don't like her. So that we agree on. But and I remember her from her New York radio days, you know.
Yeah, with Charlamagne the God. Look how well he's doing. I'm really surprised he don't run that show. DJ Envy don't even hardly talk. It's a Charlamagne show. Why isn't he the headliner? But anyways.
But I remember back in like her old radio days, like when she pissed off Tretch and they had to call security on Tretch because he showed up at the radio station to beat her ass. Like that's the type of person.
Yeah, that's a real man. Yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass, woman.
And I'm not. And I'm not like applauding Tretch. I'm just saying like she taunted him into it. You know, it wasn't like that was his plan. It was like she was on the radio talking shit about him, and Tretch called in, and things got escalated, and then he ended up showing up at the radio station. Security had to come get him, and I'm not applauding him for that, but I'm just saying that's the type of person that Wendy is. She'll piss off the devil if she has to, you know, and.
Go piss him off.
It makes it hard for me to sympathize with her, except for the part about the abuse. If he really is physically abusing her, I can't make jokes about that. That's not funny, you know, even for someone who I don't like.
Well, shit, I can do it. Throw me the jokes, I'll do it.
You know. But it's just, you know, it's hard for me to feel too sorry for her. But if she's going through issues that she's been going through since she was a kid, then in a way I can understand, because those issues are hard to break. You know, they're hard to get over when they're ingrained in you as a kid. So I can let this one go. If it was someone else, I might not. But in this case, I'll let it go.
Oh, producer said move on to the next track. All right.
So.
Okay, well, on a positive note, I'm just going to end it here because it's always about Beyonce. Beyonce has released a remix with J Balvin and Willie Williams, the Mi Gente. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's dope. I've had it on repeat all morning.
Is her Spanish genuinely Spanish, or do you think like a Spanish person would be able to understand it?
She is singing some Spanish, but then, yeah, she does go into English later. But basically, the song is being released to donate the proceeds to the Irma victims in Puerto Rico. And Fat Joe had announced that he's working with Tidal and Jay-Z to send like a private plane with 200,000 pounds of food and supplies. They're gathering in New York.
Puerto Rico got hit twice. They got hit by Irma and Maria, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't remember Maria that well, but I do know.
Their whole electric grid just went down. It was old and outdated. Well, shit, ours is old and outdated. Shit, whatever.
But I did hear about the Fat Joe thing, you know, and didn't Jay-Z help out with that?
Yeah. Jay-Z.
Is Fat Joe really named Fat Joe still? Because he's not really fat anymore. I mean, is it just Joe?
If you see Fat Joe, he's gained a little weight of the weight back. Yeah.
Okay.
A little though.
Yeah, he's back to Fat Joe. But he's still cute to me. Fat Joe.
He didn't want to end up like Big Punisher. You know, that was his boy.
That was cocaine. That ain't had nothing to do with the weight.
Oh my God. So anyway. Yeah. So shout out to them. But that was the only news that I really had. But I ran
That's good
into
news. That's good news. So welcome back from Dubois. Hopefully you brought us some artifacts back. Anyways.
I did get this dramatic ass cape though at one of the suits. That shit was dope. I can't wait to wear that somewhere. I need to wear it to like a black party or something.
Girl, rock that thing at work tomorrow.
At the Peace Center, it's kind of sheer. Like I'm gonna wear all black everything. Like, oh, I can't wait to go to a black party because I'm gonna whip that shit out. And it's so dramatic. It flows in the wind. It's perfect. It's perfect.
All right. Well, that concludes that extended 360 degrees perspective. Merc, what you got?
Yeah, and it's all good, Audie. You had to make up for lost time. But
absolutely.
I will say this. You know, I've been on the interwebs lately, fighting with. I'm like Neo. I'm fighting like a whole bunch of people. I'm fighting Trump fans. I'm fighting Hillary fans. You know, I'm doing the kung fu. It's kind of crazy. But I did find something that caught my eye and made me laugh and shake my head at the same time about right-wingers, about the right. I'm not singling out Trump fans, although it will be singled out later, but you figure the right is good at a lot of things. Human compassion is not one of them, but one of their better things that they're great at is blaming people for stuff that has nothing to do with anything. So you figure they blamed Obama for Afghanistan war and the Iraq war, which he voted against even though he wasn't president. Hell, they even blamed Obama for September 11th. And Jordan Klepper from Daily Show interviewed somebody on the street, and they said that, you know, Obama didn't do anything about September 11th. And Jordan Klepper was like, well, why do you think that Obama didn't do anything about September 11th, 2001? You know, Obama didn't become president until 2009. And the guy was like, well, I'm not sure, but I need to get to the bottom of it. Like, that's how stupid these people can be sometimes, right? But their latest blame game thing is dating. And I've seen a lot of articles lately where the right is saying, in one of the articles, there was in The Federalist, which is basically just like if The Federalist was an actual newspaper, like paper newspaper, I wouldn't line a bird cage with it because I wouldn't want the bird to get an infection. Like, that's how much of a rag this thing is. But they had an article basically blaming, in one part, not everything, but in one part, Donald Trump's rise because liberals won't date Trump fans. Let me ask you two a question before I go on. When you, in your younger days, not now because we're older and we're wiser, right? But in your younger days, when you were out, you know, dating and stuff like that, what was the main criteria that attracted you to another person?
Their beauty.
Odie, what was it for you?
Oh, my younger days. I'm really trying to really think hard about this question, but I'm pretty sure I've always been on, like, the intelligence kick. I never liked a stupid dude.
Okay. And I will agree with Blue. For me, it was beauty, and that's probably why my dating life when I was younger was always a disaster, because I looked for beauty and tried to retrofit everything else, and it always ended in tears and disaster.
Oh, so you're a man. That's why. Okay.
Right. That too. But my thing is this, right? You know, in my old days, going to me specifically, I would go for beauty, right? Now I'm older, so now you go more for relationships, because I figure it like this: if I were ever to get married, probably not going to happen at this point, but if I were, right? While attractiveness is important, it's not paramount, because when I'm 80 years old and my wife is 80 years old, right? It's not going to be about sex anymore. It's going to be about how I feel about her as a person, right? Because I want someone who I can go to the Old Country Buffet with at 8 o'clock in the morning and just talk about stuff, even though I saw her all day yesterday. You understand what I'm saying? That becomes more important. But now it's becoming more important in younger people as well. The relationship of it, the core value of it. Think about Alexandra. And normally I wouldn't mention her by name, but she was on the show, on the last iteration of our show, right? She's a vegan, right? And being a vegan is important to her because it helped her turn her health around. So she would much rather date someone who is a vegan who shares that core value with her, because that's her core value, is her health, being vegan, right? She doesn't want to go back to eating hamburgers and French fries, right? She wants to stay on that path that helped her turn her health around, and that's important, and that makes sense. Alexandra's much younger than we are. I don't know about much, but she is younger than us, right? You figure, I know there was a couple of ladies who I had my eyes on, but they are deeply religious. Now, if your religion is your core value, I'm not trying to mess with that because I'm not religious. Let me put it like this. If you're not dead or getting married, I'm not going to church. I'm not getting up on a Sunday morning and going to church. It's 2/3 I'm not religious and 1/3 I'm lazy. So I'm not getting up on, I barely have like getting up on Sunday to do my laundry, much less going to church. But if that's your core value, I'm not even going to waste your time because I'm not with that, right? What is it about Trump fans that attracts women, right? Is it their belligerence? Is it their hatred of people who don't share their views? Like, what is it about Trump fans that people that they think is attractive to other women? This article I read, right, they mentioned tribalism. So they said that the reason why liberals won't date Trump fans, right, is because of tribalism, because we only want to be with people who share our views and don't want to look at other people's views. I will say this. For me personally, right, during Bush's presidency when I was on Facebook and the first half of Obama's presidency, if you talk to someone across the aisle long enough, and once you get past all that mumbo jumbo, you will find things that they have in common, right? Like with libertarians, right? Liberals and libertarians do share a lot of social issues, right, that they're in lockstep with. Just the economic issues, not even close, Republicans, I find that when I talk to Republicans on the forums, we both don't like money in politics. We're both against it. So, but nowadays, it's become so ridiculous, you can't even get past that part. So this article lamented on the part that OkCupid, they singled out OkCupid, because they allow women to put on their profiles that they support Planned Parenthood. Now, that's an important thing, because it keeps it's troll repellent. Let me ask you a question, Odie. If you're dating a guy, right, and let's just say you meet him on OkCupid or Bumble or something like that, right, and he doesn't say anything about his political affiliation, right, and you go out on a date and he starts talking this crazy horseshit about how Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization.
Well, wait, hold on. How well has the date been going up until this point? Has it been going well anyway?
Let's just say, you know what? That's a good question. Let's just say it's been halfway through the date, and let's just say it's been going well. And then all of a sudden, let's just say you're watching, let's say you went somewhere casual, right? And the news comes on, and you can't hear it because it's in a restaurant, but you have like the Black Lives Matter thing comes up, and all of a sudden he just goes off about Black Lives Matter, how they're a terrorist organization, and how they hate cops and they want to kill cops and all this other stuff, right? Would that change your entire view of this guy, or would you just say, all right, well, let me see what else he has to say?
I would definitely engage. Like, I wouldn't write him off. I'll be like, well, why do you feel that way? Or like, who told you that? Where'd you get that from? And then if he was not open to hearing me out and actually engaging in the discussion, I'm done with you anyway, because that to me speaks to a bigger issue. Like, that tells me that you're not even willing to be open about learning new things. Like, no, we're not going to get along.
And being a supporter of Planned Parenthood doesn't necessarily mean you support abortion per se. I think that moniker, when you say Planned Parenthood, people automatically think abortion, abortion, abortion. No, the whole concept is Planned Parenthood, support of parenthood, or support through the process through pregnancy, or an avoidance of pregnancy. It's much bigger than abortion, 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 abortion. Right. But people, especially Republicans, Trump fans, have a tendency to lock in until Planned Parenthood equates abortions.
Right. And the thing is, only, I think less than 10% or 5%, it was a very low number, of what Planned Parenthood does is abortions. You know, a very small part, but you know, the anti-abortion crowd. Now, my thing is this, Odie. Going back to your imaginary date that I just made up for you. Wouldn't you have liked to have known stuff like that before you even agreed to go out with this guy?
I definitely would have preferred that, because, I mean, I'm thinking what's happened too. Like, I've seen Trump supporters in pictures, and I always swipe left. You know, if I see a MAGA hat, I'm swiping left. If I see you in shorts of the American flag, swim shorts, I'm swiping left. Like, serious. So I feel like you kind of don't really have to. You can kind of judge on a surface level and say, okay, like, no, I'm not entertaining this. Not today. Not ever.
And I'm just the opposite. As a woman, I'm like, you know what? This guy might be an asshole. I'll get a chuckle. I'll get some kind of emotional response out of it. But fuck that. I'm gonna eat good tonight, motherfucker. Hey.
Oh, so this is you a bird. You would be a bird if you were female.
Chicken head.
Give me some
small head in the back. Ain't got no hair in back. Goes
Look, I feel, for real, I can't even get, because I like to take me on a date, on a real date. So, no, I'm not about to have dinner with dudes I don't like just to get a free meal. Absolutely not. Ain't worth it to me.
Now, my thing is this, right? In this article from the Federalist, two things that struck me. And one thing, in a way, made me go, I could see, I didn't agree with him, but I could see where you're coming from. And he talks about, like I said, about tribalism, a lot of people wanting to stick with people who are similar to them at their core. So he talks about Ivy League people with Ivy League degrees wanting to date other people with Ivy League degrees. Now, my thing is this, as far as the Ivy League thing, I can't see people on the dating site saying Ivy League degree required. But if you went to an Ivy League school and you met someone at school and you hit it off and then you end up going to a long-term relationship and getting married, that's something else altogether. But I do see from my brief time on Tinder and Bumble, I do see a lot of women who are just flat out, no bones about it. If you're a Trump fan, swipe left. Like, don't even bother. Right? Now, my thing is this. I get where they're coming from, but the fact that this author blames liberals not wanting to date conservatives as one of the reasons why Trump won is absolutely ridiculous on its face. I think they just didn't have
don't want to date us either. What the fuck are you talking about here? Like, I don't want us either.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous on its face, because most people, like, if you listen to, like, I saw a dating show on VH1 one time, back when I had cable, and this guy his goal was to take these, and they were good-looking women, but they were undateable because of their attitudes, and he's trying to get them into long-term relationships. And he said something that stuck with me, and he said, on a first date, not forever, just the first date, he said the 5 things you don't talk about: religion, politics, work, money, or anything that can be construed as negative. At least for the first date, until you get comfortable and find out, I guess, what you can and can't talk about. But the fact that politics showed up in there, because politics is divisive, right? I can't see somebody saying, well, I'm not getting any pussy, so I'm just going to go ahead and vote for Trump. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because from what I see on Twitter, there's plenty of women out there for you if you're a Trump fan. Plenty of deplorables.
That's called farmersonly.com.
Yeah. So my thing is this, and the other thing in the article is that this guy tried to make it seem like the liberals were the hateful ones, the closed-minded ones, and that the Trump fans were like, look, just give me a chance. And we're just being like, no, because you're a Trump fan. That's half true. But it's only because when you listen to things that Trump fans say. Think about the Colin Kaepernick thing, right? You figure Ray Lewis knelt down and he tried to get out and say, oh, just praying. Like, yeah, whatever. I hate Ray Lewis so much. But now, because he did that, now they want to take, I didn't even know Ray Lewis had a statue. But now they want to take his statue down. Because he plays football. But now they want to take his statue down, right? You figure their views on abortion are just draconic. It's like Blue said, it's about choice, making your own choice. If a woman in Wichita, Kansas has an abortion, how does that affect my life? But for some reason, these people feel that it's good to control other people's lives, so long as we're not trying to control theirs, right? Have you been on Twitter lately and looked on the Make America Great Again hashtag?
I like to stick to Black Twitter.
Yeah. But that the MAGA hashtag is the saddest collection of short stories you'll ever read, because it's basically just people just disillusioning themselves into thinking that President Trump is the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln, and everything that Trump says is the exact opposite of that. If I was in an argument with a guy, someone on my friends list. So he basically found a Harvard professor, a black Harvard professor, who wrote a paper for some think tank stating that police brutality has nothing to do with race. And I posted an article from NBC News that was backed up by an actual criminologist from I think it's University of Kentucky, don't quote me, but an actual criminologist. You know what he said? He said, he didn't say the words fake news, but he was like, that doesn't count. I'm like, so NBC is fake news now, huh? So a criminologist, a guy who does this for a living, that guy who wrote that piece on cops not being racially motivated, you know what his last article was, according to the think piece? Women's happiness. So you know that's not his field of study. He just writes articles, right? But, the whole fake news thing, anything that they don't agree with is fake news. One author, and going to your point that you started to make, Odie, one author who wrote a rebuttal to that article, and the name of her article was, and it makes me laugh, the name of her article was, Maybe We Won't Date You Because You're Awful. And basically, she was saying that I keep wanting to call her Justine Damon two different people in two different situations. But the woman who got run over by the Nazis, right, in Charlottesville. Yeah. The Daily Stormer wrote an article about her, and they basically called her like a fat, ugly lesbian. That's how these sites always refer to liberal women, as just fat, ugly losers. I'm sorry, where's the romance in that? Am I supposed to read between the lines and find out that fat, ugly loser is an anagram for something romantic? So these people they just radiate and ooze hatred, right? And then they wonder why liberals don't want to date them, or why people don't want to engage them. And they try to make it seem like they're the good guys, like they're the ones. I'll put it like this. There was a guy on Facebook. I just heard about him yesterday. No, day before. Today's Saturday. So the day before yesterday, I just heard of this guy, right? He is on Facebook. His name is, hold on, I saved that article here. What the hell is this jigaboo's name?
Jigaboo?
Oh, hold on. I will explain. Brandon Tatum, that's his name. He's a cop from Arizona, right? He's a black guy, and he wrote this. He didn't write, but yeah, he had this piece about dissing the NFL, right? That video got like when he put it on YouTube, he got like 50 million views. I'm pretty sure it's well more than that now, because it was 50 million a couple days ago. So I'm pretty sure it's way more than that now. He said on his Facebook page that he was going to be on Fox News, right? And then he had a video that came out, and this is the video that people linked to me. And he had a video that says, "Why do they hate me so much?" I guess I hadn't really thought about that. Why do we hate you so much? Because you're a sellout. Because you're siding with the people who want to see us dead.
Look, I always think about, whenever I see people like that, frankly, first of all, I've already decided I'm not going to waste my energy on people that are committed to not understanding what the fuck we're talking about. And basically, someone I went to high school with posted a video. We might be talking about the same video, and it was way too long for me to watch the whole thing, but I did start playing some of it, and the guy was basically talking about, I was raised to believe that the police were my enemy, and I should be afraid, and all this other bullshit, and how it was wrong to be afraid of being black in America. And the person that posted this was white, by the way. So I'm like, so you found the one person whose narrative contradicts damn near every other black person's narrative.
Right.
So you can feel better about yourself. Okay, fine. I see where we're going with this. And I watched a few minutes of it, and I just was like, I'm not discounting this man's experience, but good for you that you didn't have to worry about police brutality or being profiled. Like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's like fucking air. It's here. And I always think about, when I see people like that, I feel I'm like, wow, that's so unfortunate. And I think about when Harriet Tubman said, I think it's on her headstone, like wherever she's buried. And basically the saying was, yeah, I would have freed a lot more if only they knew they were slaves. Like that was her wish. Like, yeah, I would have loved to see more black people, but some of them didn't even know they were slaves. Like, that's what it is. You don't know, or you refuse to see what the fuck is happening, and you keep dismissing everybody else's experience because you yourself haven't experienced it. And you're full of shit, so shut the fuck up. I'm done listening to you. I'm not going to explain this to you, because you're committed to not understanding. Goodbye.
The reason why I brought up Brandon Tatum is because I still have the link to his video. So I look at all the replies, and most of the people that replied, at least going to their by their Facebook profile pictures, are white. And I looked at some of these, the ones that didn't have the privacy up, and they're mostly Trump fans. At least the ones whose privacy allowed me to see some of their posts. So there's one person who was like, you're one of my favorite people. And then they're like, they hate you because you're speaking the truth and people don't like the truth. And who's another one? The media is scrambling to create a false narrative. Unfortunately, too many people are being duped by it. Because just like you said, Odie, you have 8-9 million black people who have an experience, right? They find one jigaboo who contradicts that, and now this motherfucker's on Fox News.
Yep.
How many people do you think is going to convert? The same guy who I had the internet argument with, I'll tell you this. If committing a crime, big or small, means that the police are allowed to kill you, my Facebook friends list would be 25% shorter. Right? But now these people are, they're adults now, they have families, they have kids, and they use their negative experiences that they had as kids to steer their kids in the right direction. So now most of my friends who have those experiences, their kids are on a roll now. Some of them are already going to college because they had a chance to rehabilitate, and they did. And it goes back to the original point of these people think that there's no problem with police brutality. None. Right? And they think that...
You couldn't have been doing whatever the fuck it was that you were doing when the cop shot you.
Yeah. So they think... And this guy being a cop makes it worse. Of course he doesn't think there's police brutality. He's a motherfucking cop. So, it baffles me that the right is there, and they're experts at this too, because they believe it in their minds that they're the ones who are all about the peace and the love, and it's the liberals who are the hateful ones. Oh, the liberals won't date me because I'm a Trump fan. No, they won't date you because you're terrible.
And not only that, why would you want to date somebody
with terrible ideas?
And why would you want to date somebody whose values don't align with yours, you know?
Exactly.
That's the main thing. You know, there are certain things that I could change and I could have changed in a relationship. If I dated a woman, and this is not on Alexandra, I just use this as an example because I know she's
she's a doctor, so we're going to call her by her title. It's going to be Dr. Alexander.
Dr. Alexander.
When you pay $120,000 for a doctorate degree, you better call me a doctor, motherfucker. So
my apologies, Alexandra.
I am not mad at that.
But I'll put it like that. And like I said, this is not about...
She's kind enough to tell you don't have to use it, but I'm telling you to use it.
Oh, okay. I'm overweight. Right? If I meet a woman and we're in a relationship and she says, hey, listen, you're overweight. I love you. I love you the way you are, but I want you to be with me a lot longer. So, you know, let me, maybe a couple of days a week instead of eating out at Bob Evans, you know, I could fix you a vegan meal. Right?
That sounds like some white bitch.
but I could accept that because in my mind that is something I want to change. If change was easy, I'd be on jogging right now. But if that same person was like, I want you to be a vegan, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to be a vegan. Will I eat vegan meals every now and then? Sure. You know, it's hard to change someone's core. Right? So you think that a woman can date a Trump fan and just figure, I'm going to change him. I'm going to change him. No, you're never going to change him. You're going to end up, like I heard a comedian say, you know, I'm not going to say his whole routine because it's long. You're going to start with, you know what? I can change him. And you're going to end up with her and her mama getting beat up by that guy on Jerry Springer on national television.
There you go.
You can't change people's core unless they want to change. So if you're on a dating site and you see somebody like Blue said with or like Odie said with their MAGA hat on, it's just like you've already lost. So just give it up. There's plenty of deplorable bitches out there for you to date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we call them trailer trash white bitches. We call them meth addicts. We call them meth addict trailer bitches. You know what I'm saying?
I won't go that far, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women out there who share those values. I mean, you figure, what was it?
We call them heroin addicted prostitutes on fucking Backpage. Fucking on Capitol Boulevard in front of the fucking hotel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I find it weird.
Suck your dick for $10 because they can get 2 fucking hits of heroin for $5 each.
I didn't know heroin was that cheap.
It's dirt cheap.
I don't know anything about heroin, so all I know is that Miles Davis was on it. I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. But
yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
He was.
But
he invented it.
And quick side note before I let it go, I was on Twitter fighting with the Hillary fans, and one guy
Stop fucking with them. We need to unite the Democrats. Stop fighting them.
My brother always tells me, he was like, Merce, you know what your problem is? You have a low tolerance for bullshit. So when they're out there pushing their, you know, Hillary thing, I'm fine. But when they start lying, that's when it gets me. And one person said that Hillary had the idea for single-payer health care first, and Bernie stole it from her. And I never
heard her promote it. I never heard her promote it.
Oh, she did, back in 1993. Not lately, because lately in this past campaign, she said single-payer healthcare will never happen. But she was pushing for it back in the early 90s when she was a senator. So she was, but Bernie been pushing for it since the 80s. Shoot, Bernie was running for office against Abraham Lincoln. He's been there forever. So it's crazy. And then I had and you know me being snarky, and I think that's like the most retweets I've ever gotten on a tweet.
A whole 7,
Yeah, basically. I have no presence on Twitter. I got like 3 retweets, and I was just like king of the world. Like, yes, 3 retweets. Take that, Obama. But I was basically like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm like, didn't you know? Hillary invented single payer, but Europe stole it from her. Mm-hmm. You know, the program that Europe has had for decades, that Hillary mentioned in the 90s and fought for it and was like, oh yeah, well, you gave me money, so I'm going to quit talking about it. That's what Bernie stole from her. Fucking jackasses. Like, I don't, you know. But anyway, that's all I had.
Well, that's enough. You start fighting with them Hillarites, okay?
I usually leave them be, but when they start talking that bullshit, I'm just like, I can't let it go. But I will say one other quick thing before I let it go. I know I said that twice.
Oh, I'm gonna say something. This is your penance. Your penance is no Twitter for a week.
That's actually kind of easy. I'm not on Twitter that much. You know what I'm on?
You must have been wide open for Facebook.
Oh, now that I'd go insane in like 2 days.
Well, I need him on Facebook. I tag him the stuff I want him to look at.
If I had no Facebook for 2 days, put it like this: this is how much I'm on Facebook. That one day, I don't know why. I wasn't sick or anything. I think for once, one day I had nothing to say. So I wasn't on Facebook, and my friends actually called me to make sure I was okay. I'm not making it out to be funny. Because they were like, he posts every day, and one day I didn't post for a whole day because I had nothing to say. And no repost, no nothing. And my friends actually called me to make sure I was all right.
That's what's up, man. You got some good friends, man.
Yeah.
They spend too much time on Facebook.
But the one really quick thing I have before I let it go, and go into Odie's point about people not wanting to understand. This person I was having an internet argument with, and the point about my friends who were, you know, less than honorable before they became totally honorable. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about Kaepernick. And one guy, a friend brought up black on black crime, because that's the frisbee that they throw to chase the dogs off the scent. You know, they throw a frisbee, here boy, chase the black on black crime frisbee, and the dogs are just standing there looking at him like, I'm not chasing that frisbee. You know, but he was the one who posted that thing from the black Harvard professor about how there's really no such thing as a racial bias when it comes to police shootings, despite the fact that another person on that thread put up like 6 articles from different news sources proving that there is. Mm-hmm. One of them was literally counting dead bodies of police shooting victims, and found out that almost 3 times as many were African American, and we're just talking about the unarmed ones.
Right.
And my friend Terrence was basically said, look, you know, you're just putting up numbers from one jackass. I've had guns pulled on me by the cops. I had friends who were murdered by the police. Right? You know what he said? He said that doesn't matter because I got these numbers right here. He literally said that. He said your experience doesn't matter. And I'm not making it up for a dramatic effect. He actually said your experience doesn't matter. I've never seen so many people on a thread turn on a person at once and curse this dude out. Your experience doesn't matter because I have numbers from one guy.
And you said he was a professor?
The guy who wrote the article was a professor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a Harvard professor. He says he's black. I didn't look him up to see if he was black or not. He claimed he was black, but I don't know what color the professor is. That's just what he claimed. But I did read his
Every
article.
color ain't a color because a black man squeezed Malcolm X the man.
But I did read some of the article, and it was pretty much just drivel. It's basically like saying, "Hey, I'll give you a bowl of cereal, and there's no milk in it. It's just dry cornflakes." Like, that was his article. So it's basically just devoid of the thing that would make it an actual article. There's a think piece and some rag. But it goes to people who, like you said, Odie, who don't want to understand.
Yep.
And I'll talk a little bit more about that on Monday. But, I mean, like I said, though, if change was easy, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be out jogging because it's a gorgeous day outside.
You know,
need to get out there and jog. Your ass need to get out there and jog, Mr. Diabetes.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong at all.
I do believe, I know you and I don't see eye to eye on that, Martha, and that's fine. But I do believe in God. And and I do try to leave the judging to him, because I know that it's coming. It's coming for all of us one day. And if I could just be a fly on the wall of some of these trolls online when their judgment day comes, like, how, like, I just imagine, I just would love to know.
A lot of these people don't even believe what they believe. They want to be like their people that they admire or people they want to be like, and so they adapt their belief systems. It's almost going back to the Wendy Williams segment, in which when you don't love yourself and you don't like yourself, you know what I'm saying, you will lock on into something that may not necessarily be for you. You know what I'm saying?
You're trolling to troll is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about for the ones that really do believe it, the ones that act on their beliefs, the ones that are just fucking, just awful people. What would Jesus do? Like, if I could just be a fly on the wall, just looking, just to see.
If I could just install an IP blocker that prevent them from accessing Pornhub, I wonder how insane they would really go.
Maybe he'd just be walking down along the highway with no clothes on, jerking off, just mad because there's no porn anymore. But I'll put it like this, Odie. I have friends who are religious, right? And one of my friends put it in perfect perspective, right? He is against gay marriage, right? He doesn't believe in gay marriage. He doesn't believe in homosexuality at all, right?
When you say he don't believe in it, like he don't think it exists? I mean, what do you say?
No, he doesn't think that it's right.
Oh, okay.
Right?
He doesn't think it. You know what the hell he meant.
But he puts it like this, right? It's not my place to hate them. It's not my place to judge them. It is God's place to judge them. So what happens between him and his maker is between him and his maker when his time comes. It's not up to me to judge you or hate you here on earth. And I'm like, you know what? I can get with that. I can agree with that 100%. You know, I put it like this. Gay rights mean nothing to me because I am not gay.
Okay.
But
OJ.
but I don't look at it from a personal standpoint. I look at it from a humanist standpoint, right? Because while it's not important to me, it's important to millions of other people that they be happy, that they can go out and be who they are and not be persecuted for it. So for that, if there is a law that says I'm going to be against gay rights, I'm going to get up out of my bed and go vote against that law, because why should someone else not be happy just because of someone else's religious beliefs or even personal beliefs? You know, that's just my thing. But going to your point, Odie, they just said that, you know, they are religious, but they don't feel the need to judge. I guess is their interpretation of it. But some people do feel the need to judge all the time.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. And then you're like, you treat people terribly because they don't sin the way that you sin.
Right.
Hello, let's talk about that. Like, we're all sinners. Like, let's not even play this game.
Whoa, I ain't gonna sit there and let you call me a sinner. I like
we all sinners. We all sinners.
Very sinner.
Sometimes
I get on my knees at night and struggle with what to say because I'm so,
No, but I mean, one thing that makes me laugh about religion is that how sometimes they can just be uptight, but some of my friends are not that way. And I saw Robot Chicken. Do you remember the thing with Jesus where he comes up and he says that he who is without sin cast the first stone?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was like a very short clip. They're about to stone the guy to death, and Jesus walks up and he's just like, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. So everybody drops their rocks. Like, oh, okay. And then Jesus cracks him across the jaw with a rock, and he's like, blammo! Because he's Jesus. He doesn't have any sin. And that was hilarious. And I posted that on Facebook. And some of my religious friends actually laughed at that. They thought that was actually pretty funny. So not everybody's so uptight about it, but, there are certain things that I won't post because I know it's just too much. I'll point out religious hypocrisy all day, but I'm not going to try and deconstruct your dogma because I don't believe. That's not right, and that's not fair.
There you go. All right. Well, any last words? Because
I'm going to say this: somebody in Trump's organization needs to let him know that Puerto Rico's part of the United States, and to stop bullshitting with the goddamn aid.
Well, we send a lot of money to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico doesn't necessarily contribute to our tax base. Do we really want to help them?
Yeah, because we put them in that position in the first place. I posted a piece from John Oliver who talked about it. Check it out when you get a chance.
I bet. Oh, what you got?
Just glad to be home, back to the grind, and I'll definitely see you on your show Monday.
All right.
I don't have any final words otherwise, so.
All right. And that concludes another episode of 360 Degrees with Mercer Prescott, Odi Okwei Odofole. That's it, right? Did I get it right?
Hey, you did actually. Good job, good job.
And that's Christopher Blue on this particular episode. Subscribe to the podcast via Apple's podcast app, via Android phone's Google Play app. It's in the left-hand corner under podcast, and via your Echo products such as Alexa and things of that nature. And look for the title, or ask for the title, The Urban Breakdown. And all our shows fall underneath that umbrella. Thank you, be well, but most importantly, be great.
That Burger King bag. Okay, 5 for 4. Hope that's a sweet tea right there. Oh, it is. Thank you, baby. All right. I'm so hungry for your love, girl. I want you. Y'all, I'm thinking of morning, noon, night. All night, can't get you off my mind, girl. Yeah, that's right. Kiss here, kiss there. Pull you close, stroke your hair. You're bad, I swear. Game up, truth for dare. Steamy love affair. You like this? Hell yeah. On your knees, but no prayer. Put the magnum on, ride it, oh yeah. About to get it on. We can do it all night long as the magnum stays on. Love is so good, we can't be wrong. Kisses on your mind, and kisses on your lips. Got the equipment to go on a safe trip. You probably astronaut, constellations, Big Dipper, try to escape this atmosphere. Run, girl, I'll get you and pull you right back to me. Let's call this ecstasy, like heaven when you're orbiting, all lying right here next to me.
Kiss here, kiss there, grab here, stroke swear, get up, you ready. You're so strong, no fear, got this. Hell yeah, on my knees, but no prayer. Put the magnum on, ride it, oh yeah.
Out to get it on. We can do it all night long as the magnum stays on. Love is so good, we can't be wrong. We about to get it on. We can do it all night long as the magnum stays